The music began before he realized he was listening. One fragile note slipped through the vast marble lobby, then another, trembling and unsure, like a small heartbeat echoing in a cathedral of glass and steel. The sound did not belong in a place built for power meetings, billion-dollar deals, and polished silence. It was too soft, too innocent. The lonely CEO, a man who had faced hostile takeovers without blinking, froze in the middle of his stride as the melody slowly wrapped around something in his chest he thought had been dead for years. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the idea that even the most broken hearts can heal, please like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel Single Dad Diaries. Your support helps keep stories like this alive. For Adrian Keller, silence had been a loyal companion for nearly a decade. It followed him through penthouse corridors overlooking the city, through private elevators that rose without conversation, through boardrooms where everyone waited for his nod before breathing. Silence was predictable. Silence did not remind him of promises he failed to keep. He had built his empire on discipline and distance, convincing himself that emotions were liabilities best left behind with youth and foolish dreams. The company headquarters reflected that belief perfectly: cold stone floors, towering glass walls, a lobby so large it swallowed footsteps whole. No laughter lingered there. No childhood sounds were supposed to exist in that place. That was why the piano note felt like an intrusion, almost an offense. Adrian had installed the grand piano years earlier as a decorative piece, a symbol of culture and prestige, never intending for it to be played. It sat unused near the windows, polished weekly, admired from afar. Music belonged to another life, one he had buried after grief hollowed him out. Yet now, as the melody continued, his body refused to move forward. His hand tightened around the leather briefcase he carried everywhere, as if grounding himself against a sudden wave of memory. The tune was simple, imperfect, played by hands too small to stretch fully across the keys. A child's song. Each note arrived a fraction late, some pressed too hard, others barely whispered, but the emotion behind them was undeniable. It was the kind of melody learned at home, not from a teacher, passed down in quiet evenings and gentle patience. As Adrian turned slowly toward the sound, a tightness formed behind his eyes that he angrily dismissed as irritation. Near the piano sat a little girl, no more than 6 or 7 years old, her feet dangling above the floor, not reaching the pedals. Her dark hair was pulled back in a slightly uneven ponytail, and she wore a pale sweater that had seen better days. She played with total concentration, her small brow furrowed as if the entire world depended on her getting the next note right. Beside the piano stood a woman in a simple uniform, hands clasped nervously, glancing around the lobby as though expecting someone to shout at them at any moment. Adrian's first instinct was anger. This building had rules. Security protocols. Schedules. No one simply wandered in and played music. Especially not a child. Yet he could not bring himself to interrupt. The melody pulled at him, dragging images from the depths of his mind he had sealed away. A smaller house. A warm kitchen filled with sunlight. A woman humming softly as she practiced the same song, her laughter filling the spaces between notes. He swallowed hard, jaw tightening. Years ago, before the fortune, before the towers and headlines, Adrian had loved music. His wife, Elena, had been the pianist. Music was how she spoke to the world, how she calmed storms inside herself and inside him. When illness took her far too early, the piano in their home became unbearable. He sold it within weeks, convincing himself that survival meant erasing reminders. When their daughter followed not long after, claimed by a cruel accident that shattered what little remained of his heart, Adrian Keller shut the door on feeling altogether. Work became refuge. Success became armor. Now, watching a stranger's child play a song that felt hauntingly familiar, his carefully constructed defenses began to crack. The woman beside the piano finally noticed him. Panic flashed across her face when she recognized who he was. She hurried toward the bench, whispering urgently, trying to pull the girl away. The child resisted gently, wanting to finish the song, fingers lingering on the last chord until it faded into silence. The lobby seemed to exhale with it. Every eye had turned toward them. Adrian realized that the entire floor had stopped moving, employees frozen in place, drawn in by the unexpected moment. The little girl looked up then, her wide eyes meeting his. There was no fear there, only openness and a quiet courage that unsettled him more than defiance ever could. She studied his face with the curiosity children reserve for strangers who feel important but unknown. Her gaze lingered, as if she sensed something in him that others missed. The woman apologized repeatedly, her voice shaking, explaining that she worked as part of the evening cleaning staff and had brought her daughter along because she could not afford childcare. She explained that the girl loved the piano and had begged to try it just once. She braced herself for consequences, shoulders tense, ready to lose a job she desperately needed. Adrian listened, but her words washed over him like distant noise. His attention remained fixed on the child, on the echo of the song still vibrating in his bones. He noticed the way her fingers hovered uncertainly, the way she bit her lip as if worried she had done something wrong. For reasons he could not explain, guilt surged through him, heavy and unexpected. He surprised everyone, including himself, by telling the woman there would be no punishment. His voice sounded rough and used. He told her the building was closing anyway and motioned vaguely toward the piano, giving the child permission to finish if she wished. Relief flooded the woman's face, and the little girl smiled, a small, radiant thing that pierced straight through his chest. When the girl spoke, her voice was soft but clear, and the words landed with devastating precision. She said she had learned the song from her mommy. She said her mommy used to play it when things felt scary, and the music made everything feel safe again. The world seemed to tilt. Adrian felt as if the air had been knocked from his lungs. That song. That exact explanation. Elena had said those same words once, sitting on the edge of their bed during a thunderstorm, promising their frightened daughter that music could chase fear away. He had been standing in the doorway then, watching, thinking he had all the time in the world. Time, he now knew, was the most merciless thief of all. He did not realize tears were sliding down his face until the child tilted her head, concerned. He turned away quickly, ashamed, angry at himself for unraveling in front of strangers. No one had seen Adrian Keller cry in years. The myth of his invincibility had been carefully curated. Yet something about that small voice, that inherited melody, had undone him in seconds. That night, long after the building emptied, Adrian remained alone in his office, staring out at the city lights. The encounter replayed in his mind relentlessly. He thought of the woman's tired eyes, of the child's bare courage, of the way music had bridged a chasm he thought uncrossable. He realized how narrow his life had become, how lonely. He had all the wealth anyone could want, yet he went home to silence, ate dinners alone, and spoke to no one who truly knew him. Sleep eluded him. In its place came a quiet resolve, unfamiliar but insistent. Over the following weeks, Adrian found excuses to stay later at the office, timing his evenings to coincide with the cleaning shift. He told himself it was coincidence, that he simply had more work to do. Yet each time, he found himself glancing toward the piano, waiting. When the little girl appeared again, shy but smiling, his chest warmed in a way he had forgotten was possible. He arranged for the piano to be tuned properly. He left sheet music on the bench, pretending it was for aesthetic reasons. The woman, whose name he learned was Sophia, was cautious at first. Life had taught her not to trust sudden kindness from powerful men. She had lost her husband years earlier, leaving her to raise her daughter, Lily, alone. Every day was a balancing act of bills, exhaustion, and quiet fear of one misstep destroying what little stability they had. Adrian's attention made her uneasy, but Lily's joy was undeniable. Music lit her up from the inside, giving her something pure in a world that demanded too much from a child. Slowly, boundaries softened. Adrian arranged formal piano lessons for Lily, insisting on anonymity, framing it as a company charity initiative. He watched from a distance as Lily flourished, her small hands growing more confident, her smile brighter. In those moments, the ache inside him transformed into something gentler, bittersweet rather than raw. He found himself remembering Elena not only in pain but in gratitude. The challenges were not only emotional. Adrian's board grew restless with his shifting priorities. He began funding community programs, arts education, family support initiatives that did not directly increase profits. Advisors warned him of distraction, of image risks. He listened politely and continued anyway. For the first time, his decisions were guided by something other than fear of loss. Sophia struggled too, torn between appreciation and pride. Accepting help meant acknowledging how hard life had become. Yet each time Lily sat at the piano, her face alight, Sophia knew she could not deny her daughter this gift. She watched Adrian carefully, noticing the loneliness etched beneath his composure, recognizing a grief that mirrored her own. Seasons changed. Winter softened into spring. The lobby that once echoed only with footsteps now welcomed music in the evenings, officially sanctioned. Employees lingered to listen. Smiles became more common. Adrian's world, once rigid and isolated, began to breathe. The true turning point came one evening when Lily performed at a small recital organized by the company foundation. She was nervous, hands shaking, eyes searching the crowd until they found Adrian. He nodded gently, offering silent encouragement. She played the same song she had first performed in the lobby, now richer, fuller, transformed by practice and confidence. When she finished, the room erupted in applause. Adrian stood with the rest, clapping until his hands hurt, tears unashamed this time. In that moment, he understood that healing did not erase loss. It lived alongside it. Love did not replace what was gone, it honored it by moving forward. Near the end of the evening, Lily approached him with a small, earnest seriousness. She told him that her mommy said music brought people together when words failed. She said she thought he needed the song as much as she did. Adrian knelt to her level, heart full to breaking, and thanked her for reminding him how to feel. If this story has touched your heart, if it reminded you of someone you have lost or someone who changed your life in a small but powerful way, please take a moment now to like this video, share it with someone you love, and leave a comment. Your engagement means more than you know, and it helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. In the months that followed, Adrian's life changed in ways no financial success had ever delivered. He remained a CEO, but he was no longer lonely. He found purpose not only in building companies but in nurturing lives. The piano in the lobby was no longer a symbol of status but of connection. Music filled the space, and with it, laughter, warmth, and possibility. And before this story ends, we have one special request for you. Please comment below and tell us what this story made you feel, or share a memory of a song that changed your life. Your words matter, and someone reading them might find comfort in knowing they are not alone. Because sometimes, all it takes to thaw a frozen heart is a simple melody, played by small hands, carrying the love of a mother forward into the world.